party that worked on the company's site, but to help with any of their fraud programs. They help test any kind of controls to make sure all the controls are operating within policy.
What is the role of an internal auditor? Internal auditors serve to assist management in making certain that everything's working like it's supposed to work. And sometimes that means we clean up where other people make mistakes, but in best case, we actually help prevent those mistakes from happening in the first place. So we spend a lot of time with building relationships so people trust us, so that they'll come to us when they have a decision to make rather than wait until they've already made a mess for us to clean up.
And professional internal auditing focuses on the evaluation of the system or framework of internal control. To accomplish this, we go to the client site and gain an understanding of their current processes, procedures, and controls. And we do this through interviews, inspections, and observations. Often we perform what are called walkthroughs, where we follow transactions through their entire processing cycle. Once we have done this, we then will document the processes and the controls as we've followed them through each of the cycles.
So the role of an internal auditor is really pretty simple. We help people keep their promises. Every day corporations make public commitments to shareholders, or in our case our donors, to do their very best to complete their mission or to meet their mandate in the public place, and that's what auditors do. We spend every day to make sure that companies are resourced and that our people, processes, and business practices help us meet the mandated commitments that we've made to our governments to comply with laws, and our voluntary commitments that we make to each other, whether they're through a mission or through products or services we are offered to the marketplace.
Thank you. In my day-to-day job as an internal auditor, I do many things. Some of the main things I do are risk assessment to determine the internal audit plan. So that helps us determine the work that we're going to do on a risk assessment basis. I evaluate reasonable assurance that the risk management is functioning in order to meet company and audit objectives. I maintain open communication with all necessary parties, and the main parties would be management of the company as well as our external auditors. We sometimes work pretty closely with the external auditors that are auditing the company's financial statements.
Internal audit, in my opinion, is simply to add value to the organization. There are many ways we can do that through fraud investigations, operational or financial reviews, risk assessments, controlled risk matrices, things of that nature, educating the operations and management in terms of our perspective of the risk and controls, our critical thinking abilities, or any number combinations thereof. But adding value, to me, is the primary purpose and the primary focus of what an internal audit department should be looking at or focusing, striving to do. Understanding the value.
My name is Adame. I work for Weaver. I work in the Financial Institution Compliance Group, and I focus on auditing compliance for financial institutions. Mostly I focus on regulatory compliance like BSA, Reg E, Reg D, and ACH audits as well. And on a day-to-day basis, I'll go to a financial institution and I'll do auditing things where I ensure that there are controls in place for the financial institutions to remain compliant with the rules they have to follow for regulatory requirements from the government, and also make sure, I guess, on an operational basis that that what procedures they have, and policies are being followed, and that they are adequate for the kind of things that they do. Is that loud enough? Can you hear me?